Welcome to the Smart Nonsense Podcast, where we talk about entrepreneurship, self-development, and challenging norms. Today, it is episode 75. What is that? Is there like a term for 75?
It's the 3/4 centennial.
It's the 3/4 centennial episode of the Smart Nonsense Podcast. Today, we're having a little riff-raff episode because Belky, it's been like 2 weeks. It's been too long since you've been on.
It's been too long. I have a couple things to say.
What? Oh, how are you out of breath?
I was just running to the bathroom.
Hot breath.
And my heart is pounding out of my chest. I got cream and sugar coffee.
Yes.
Woo! Okay. I'm excited to be back. I'm excited for two reasons. One reason's in excitement. The other's not. One, we have not sat down to record a podcast like this since the genesis of this podcast.
I feel like I'm a lot shorter
level
than you.
Up, level up. Well, now you might be out of the shot. So go on YouTube, subscribe, check us out.
Yes.
Leave a review wherever you listen to your podcasts. Okay. That's why I'm excited. Since July, this is the first time we came with like no plans.
Mm-hmm.
Now, here's why I'm upset. I'd like to think we kind of 50-50 the plan for this podcast on the way to the studio. And I asked you, I don't know how many times for the notes because you were taking notes because I was driving and I don't have them. I feel like I'm in the dark. Okay.
Belky's got the notes now. We're ready to go.
Let's do it.
We were just talking about driving over here, right? And my gears are grinding right now because, all right, let's start with the problem. The root problem, we're in a new apartment, right? And I don't know how to describe that apartment. It's like a nice place, but we're slumming it.
Yes.
And yes, Belky's touching my legs under the table. So we're slumming it, but it's this 14-year-old place, and now we're getting some appliances that aren't being friendly to us. So our washer, I was going to wash my stuff. I got no underwear on right now.
You do? You don't? You do or you don't?
I got nothing under this.
Either.
Probably nothing under the table. Don't look down. But all I'm saying is it basically broke on us, right?
Yeah.
And so we have, what's the dude's name?
Omar? The technician?
Omar, the technician comes in. He's like, we can't fix it. It's got to be Saturday. So now I have this laundry and I got to bring it to someone to wash because I can't go a whole week with no underwear. I mean, that's.
I can't go a whole week with you in no underwear. The apartment smells like onions. That's my fault, but
yeah, don't blame that on my underwear. So we go to this laundromat, right? And I get in there. I got my laundry, and it's probably like 3 pounds of laundry. And this guy's like, "Hey, yeah, you're on the system, new customer, but just so you know, there's a 10-pound minimum for laundry, and it's $2.50 a pound."
Which, by the way, is something that happened to us in Peru. And I know when we were down there, I was like, this would never happen in the States, let me tell you. And it's worse. It was worse.
That's what I'm wondering. Okay, in Peru, they had basically skewed the scale, and we're not dumb. We caught onto it. It's like it starts at 2, what's the metric system?
2 kg.
Yeah, 2 kilograms. And
we're like, just zero it out. Just zero out the scale.
I kind of wish this guy was just told me it's 10 pounds because I would have believed him. That's stupid. But he's like, this is definitely not 10 pounds, but it's a 10-pound minimum. So it's $25 to wash your 5 days worth of clothes.
Welcome to Chicago. You know, they're not even going to wash it. They're going to ship it off to some central air.
He pointed at the washing machine. Oh. But this is my point, right? I am never going to go back to this place. One, because we'll have our own working washer and dryer. But if I was someone else, I'd be like, all right, I'm a first-time customer. Let's make a good impression. We tell the guy, hey, Dylan, we know this is your first time. You didn't know there was a minimum, so we're just going to charge you by weight. Next time, this is the rule.
Okay.
Like, that's good customer service.
Or just make your minimum like 5 pounds?
I mean, I'm sure it's a bitch to wash laundry, and it's like, it's better to do dry. I don't know what their rationale for the business model is, but just like...
Well, my rationale was nobody's going to, like, okay, you walked in there with a hamper that was full of dirty clothes. The hamper's like all ripped up. No one's going to walk out of there when they hear a minimum like that.
I think my mom would have. Sure.
I probably would have.
I was thinking, because I told you, I'm like, I literally looked at my clothes. I'm like, what can I take off to put in this hamper so it hits 10 pounds? Just because I feel like I'm getting screwed. I was literally, I'm like, does Belky have laundry in the car maybe? I was literally going through all of this. Meanwhile, there's a place right across the street. I could have just walked there. But like,
I do think you should tell him when you pick up, like, hey, by the way, like no harm, no foul, but I will probably never come back because of this. And that's just a bad take.
And maybe he won't charge me because he didn't like charge my credit card. Actually, that's going to be good. I'm curious how he responds. Maybe we'll have an update.
It should be a good uncomfortable thing for you to do too. We're like, who are all these self-development guys? They say like, spend a week like negotiating prices at Starbucks and stuff, or like asking for 10%.
Noah Kagan's big thing.
Noah Kagan. Okay, this could be a good one where you're like, hey, this is.
Yeah,
I feel
because that's the thing. I'm like, I will pay $25, but no, I will never come back here.
Right,
and just
it's the easiest way. Wait, there was something that happened this week where I was never going to go back somewhere. I don't know.
Well, you're getting fucked left and right, Belky.
I know.
Do you want to talk
Well, yeah, I'll never go back to eBay, right?
Yeah.
For that reason. It's like, your customers are everything. They're everything. I've made tens of thousands of dollars for eBay over the years. And through COVID, they've just like been shafting me. They're not answering my calls. They're flagging my account. They're like stealing money. And
basically, Belky, you thought you could outsource really and have someone else help you with all your listing. And then they're like, who is this international person now that's untrustworthy?
Right.
Flag your account. And once you're flagged and someone tries to return something, which even though they shouldn't have returned it because it made no sense to their claim.
I think what really happened is my account got flagged for that. I opened it up and then I was just in the hot seat. They were waiting to get me at any chance. And I've had a number of eBay accounts in the past that have been shut down and they started associating all of them. The real problem is none of their phone lines are open. If I talk to a human being, they're like, "Oh yeah, this makes total sense. Like, let's get this sorted out." I don't want to sell on eBay anymore. I just want my money back. Same reason I gotta go to the police station tomorrow. That's a little bit more my fault.
We are just constantly. So one of our tenets in life, as everyone knows, is opportunity cost. And when I ran the numbers, I'm like $25. I can go take my laundry out, go to another place, but that's going to take 10 minutes of my time, 10 minutes of Belky's time. And if we're both in theory charging $150 an hour for our time, then that's a fifth of $360.
You know when it's really hard to do that math?
I don't know if that math.
What was the math? A fifth of what?
$50. It's basically like way more than we would have thought.
But the problem with that math, I think this is you and me the last week, is it's really hard to do and to validate when you don't have any money coming in.
Right. So my mom, I'll tell her this for like washing the fence or something. I'm like, just hire someone to power wash the fence, and she's out there doing it herself because she has no way to increase her income.
Right.
Because she just works like a normal human being in a job, and she can't like force the employer to pay overtime or something. So it's like, what? I need the money.
Let me take this back to the apartment. That reminds me. I know your mother has a very nice house. This has nothing to do with her, and she's a hard worker. Nothing to do with her. Our apartment. Let me paint the picture for you. For you, you've been there.
For me, I don't remember. What's going on?
Let me paint the picture. What's going on is you walk in and our trash bin is just a bunch of shopping bags that are left over.
Well, this is because it started with me, right? Because I moved in before you. I was living by myself, and I ordered, like, first thing on my mind is food. So I ordered the food.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, after I eat it, I'm like, where's it going to go? I look and I'm like, these are the only bags I have. But we're just too lazy to buy a shopping bag or buy a trash bag.
Yeah. I don't know if we're too lazy. For me, it's like kind of intentional. We're like trying to put ourselves in this position, but we're like, we should get a couch. And I'm looking for a cheap one, just on a used one, Craigslist, Facebook or whatever. We're like, wait a minute. If we get a couch, that's going to get in the way of your exercise mat that's on the floor. And then beyond that, it's going to get in the way of my air mattress. So we can't get a couch.
We are just, and we heard it yesterday with Beery. Actually, we talked to him for like 2 hours after the podcast. Yeah. After.
Oh, after. Okay.
During the podcast, no.
Yeah.
Man, that's something I want to talk about too, is like figuring out how to get people. That was our first live podcast. I keep saying our, but I guess.
Yours.
But that's a weird vibe. Got to get more comfortable there.
I think you need to have like a bowl of candies.
Just feed each other?
Just have something to do. It's all about.
We were playing on the computer.
Yeah,
it was kind of like a first date, honestly. Yeah. It's like you get. It's all about challenging
nervous energy, which I just listened to Robbie. It's like you could label that as nervous energy, or you could label it as excitement. I think there's a bowl of candy that it becomes exciting.
64? Maybe, or 64. Both wrong. So yeah, let's get back to the apartment. We like slumming it. Beery said it yesterday. He's like, he was basically living like behind this music concert building venue. Yeah. And he just met these awesome people, realized like, oh, he's a creative creative. He wants to like lean into this side of his personality. And you kind of you can't get like an apartment downtown. Like you got to put yourself in weird environments to really test.
I was even talking to him while you were in the bathroom because he's stoked that he's getting back into the world of employment and he's making money again. And he's like, I can buy things again. And I was like, yeah, but like what you and I are doing right now, and what he was doing for a long time, it's voluntary simplicity, which we've talked about, but you realize just how little you need, right? I spend, I don't know, $45 on food and I make it last 2 weeks.
I don't understand that at all.
I'm a mouse.
I spend a lot on food.
You go shopping 3 times a week.
At this point, like before it was just simplicity, but now it's actually voluntary. Not so much for you because you're bleeding.
No, this is involuntary. This is involuntary. I'm bleeding out in front of everybody and everything. I got to go raise some money. What better reason?
That's why he's getting on Omegle tomorrow to fundraise.
What better reason to get on Omegle to fundraise?
You'll have to. It'll probably be released after.
Let me cross some of these out.
Yeah, we got to talk about from Michael's perspective now, because right.
Yeah, really quick. Here was my fear. This has never really happened to me as a renter. I was worried that when we raised, first of all, Michael's been a great landlord, but I was worried that when we raised that problem with him, it was going to be like this weird coincidence where like all these things have broken in the last week. But we haven't done anything. Is that a problem people have?
I think there's like a 30-day money back guarantee.
I hope so. Okay, but yeah, so we were talking. Because you and I have gone back and forth on this a lot, renting versus owning. And I was a big like, I just want to own something, an asset that's, appreciating over time. And then this guy comes to fix the wash machine today and it's $400, which is like 20% of our rent. More, a bit more. It's 1/4. It's 1/4 of a month of rent. It's 1/4. What is that? 25%.
Yeah, it's something around there.
It's 25. Yeah.
So this isn't a math podcast, all right? So
we flubbed the numbers twice.
But the point is, it's not quit. Okay. It's like these costs add up. And this is something that I told you a while back because you're like, hey, let's buy this place in Brooklyn and then just live in it and rent out the other places, which my dad does. Like he owns a 3-family.
Oh, true. That's something hacking. Property hacking, I think. Sure. Where you own half of a place and the person you're renting to basically covers the whole mortgage. So you're living for free. And
yet he's living for free. He's actually being paid to live there.
Right.
Which is cool. But then what happens when the washer and dryer upstairs breaks? Or like in my New York apartment, there was a leak in my ceiling. And I'm like, hey dude, come fix this. And they're going to send someone over the same day.
I think that's a really great argument. First of all, I'm on the renting train now. To some degree. I think that's another really good reason to learn how to fix things. Right? Because the part for the washing machine wasn't $400. The part's like $70. It's the labor for coming out today and he's got to come out again Saturday. That's something I could put in the wash machine, no problem.
That's something, because we were talking, because you get your haircut from Mecca and he was on one of your YouTube videos. We can link that. But he comes over here and he'll cut your haircut or cut your hair and it's whatever. You'll pay him like $50 or something. But like still, if you factor in his time of driving here, setting up that the haircut's like an hour, whatever it is, he's spending like 3 hours for $50.
Right.
Granted, we're awesome and it's cool to hang out
because he
with
can't
us.
do stuff before because of the travel time. It's hard to figure out stuff to do like.
So what, you're gonna make $17 an hour?
Yeah. And he and I talked about that. Is like, is that your edge doing house calls or would people come to you? I told him like I would go 10 minutes and drive to you, but you offered to come here. Why would I not take that? Right. Valuing that travel time. And he said like most of his clients are house calls and he's not so sure they'd come to him. So it's tough. It's tough.
It's just interesting. Like I've been looking at people differently recently. Of just like seeing, even talking to my dad last night and how he's got to literally work for every dollar because he's a chiropractor.
Oh, input, output.
Wait. Okay, let's close the loop first on this
laundry.
Rent versus owning. Because I do want to make the point, and I've said this before in the group chat, but it didn't really hit home, where when you pay rent, that is the most you will ever pay for that apartment. If something breaks, it's not your problem. Whereas if you have a mortgage, That is the minimum payment you will pay.
Yes.
So that means like, oh, I have a mortgage and it's only $2,000 a month, whatever it is, $1,500. Well, if something breaks, now it's $2,500 a month, and something else breaks, it's $3,000 a month. So you don't really know where the limit is.
Property taxes.
Right. And people generally don't do the math very well.
Yeah.
Like clearly we can't even do math.
It looks like a really good investment over 40 years.
Right. But then all these little charges come up. And so like you got to factor in all the transaction costs of like just going through and having to hire or rent to people. Like for example, Zach, who's kind of my stepdad, they're broken up now, but like he had a lot of tenants for URI, University of Rhode Island. And they were paying a lot of money, but every single year they churn because they'll want to live at some other part. And so it's just like, you got to factor in all these costs, your time, the marketing involved.
Yeah.
And I don't think people value themselves enough. And so,
because it looks like really passive income, but it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. And you were saying like, what if you just paid rent and you're just going on a monthly basis? So say it's like $2,000, everything else you put towards the down payment for the mortgage and all that interest.
That's right.
Now you
throw it in an index fund today.
Or invest in yourself.
Like
we're doing,
right.
Essentially.
This is why I'm stoked about building a tiny home is we're not necessarily lighting rent money on fire, which is, you're never going to see that money again. But we're also building toward an asset that's not as expensive.
Why do you think there's not as much nonsense right now? Is this too smart?
I don't know. I don't think I had a big enough coffee.
That's the problem.
Where are we about to go?
45 minutes.
Oh, because input output. That's smart shit.
All right, input output.
Sorry, we're smart.
Okay.
I apologize. We're a little bit smart.
Shut up.
Let's pause and go get some coffee.
I know. No, I'm kidding. No one takes out here. It's all one take. So Slick Rick, I'm talking to him last night. That's my dad. He's a chiropractor. He is basically like, I'm on a grind. I got to go in. Every patient is $1 in the door when I'm not talking to patients. I'm not bringing money in. So he's literally got to be there, and he's done it for the last 40 years.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I can't imagine
these are my parents
that.
Too. My mom more than my dad, right? Because she's in a similar field. It's how many patients do you see?
It's
absurd. And that's it. You can't, unless you level up and have your own practice, you can't get someone to see those patients for you. Right? Come on. Relax.
Yeah.
Relax.
Loosen up.
Relax. Okay. So I am in this predicament of divorcing myself of this input-output treadmill.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's like, right now my side hustles are very like hours put in, money I get out. Shooting weddings, selling things on eBay, or not eBay.
Hey, you can take this off like a little stage mic too. Try that.
Flippy floppy. Watch this on YouTube.
Wow, that's cool. I wish I could do that.
That's not comfy. That's not comfy at all. Flipping things. So I'm looking for something to just get off that treadmill, and I want to get off sooner rather than later. I mean, yeah.
Well, that's what I was telling my dad. Did we talk about this before on the podcast?
Yeah, you told him to like break all the laws and stuff.
No.
Oh, on the podcast.
Oh, well, that is actually an interesting point where he was talking about like there's all this overhead with running a business where you got to spend your time managing people, making sure clients are coming in the door. Like the medical industry just sucks ass in terms of insurance. So he's like, I just want to essentially fire everyone and just me in there. And it's like, you come in, you got a back problem, a neck problem, pay me $50 or whatever.
His garage.
He literally could. And I think most people kind of like say, oh yeah, that's an interesting idea, but don't actually consider it.
They don't consider it. Also, he was saying though, he really likes his new clients because they're like new problems to solve.
Right.
And I don't think he would get a whole lot of new clients if he did that because it is about optics and obviously your certification. He would lose his certification probably. And then I don't know. Do new people
I don't know
come
how
to your garage?
the legal system works.
That's like a SNL skit.
Come on, let me crack
We
you.
saw a chiropractor in, was that Family Guy or South Park?
That was Family Guy.
Oh yeah. He cracked his neck. Peter grew like 8 feet.
What is it? Like normally this is performed in a strip mall next to like a 7-Eleven or some shit like that.
Yeah.
And just shit on Slick. Slick's gonna listen to this.
We should call him up. Why don't we do a little call?
It's like, we got to get Binky live in the pod. But okay. So basically like I told him, I'm like, hey, this is the evolution, right? Back in the day, it's the landowners versus the landless. The landless are going to work in this little serfdom. What do you call that serfdom environment?
You said the same thing yesterday. You said in the little serfdom. What do you call the serfdom?
I know.
No, not on a podcast, just in the car. And here we are.
Well,
Same
whatever.
problems.
It's like someone owns the land, someone doesn't. And they're going to work, tend to the land, and you'll get to sleep there and eat some of the food you harvest. Okay, that was like way back in the day. Then it goes to blue collar, white collar, where you get people that are like using their brain versus their body. And now you're at this position of like leverage. Basically, what is your lever arm? Are you someone that is every hour you put in is like you get money out? Or is it like every hour you put in, you can get exponentially, you can get infinite?
The difference
output.
here is, are you making money in your sleep? That's the kind of money, if you want to like unleverage yourself, that's the kind of money you're after. I just made a video about this in shooting weddings, right? I was like, instead of turning down these extra weddings I'm getting for weekends I can't shoot them, wait a minute, can I flip the script here and create a business model that allows me to contract out that wedding to someone, but it still comes through me? That's leverage.
Well, that's what Naval says, because there are different types of leverage, right? Where you can have, say, code, which is the best form of leverage in general. It's like you code it once, zero distribution. You don't have to worry about people. It's just, this is the code. It does the work.
Not
never
a lot
any
of
management.
costs.
The other one is media. And that's basically what we're doing, where anyone in the world can watch this podcast. It means we also have to be the best in the world at whatever our niche is. But it's just, you can scale it infinitely. And then the last one is people. And that's kind of what we're doing with like our media agency, if you want to call it that, of like, hey, we have a team, whoever we're contracting to, this is how much it costs a month.
That's what we got to figure out. I think that's my input-output hack, is like this system we've set up both for this, for my YouTube, your YouTube, like works really well. So how do we sell this to other people? And we just manage the whole thing.
Yeah. In a month we'll have an update. There's some secret sauce going on right now. We can't tell anyone until it's confirmed.
Secret sauce.
But that's good. Okay.
So nice.
I want to talk really quick about this affiliate link BS that you were just looking at before.
Oh, yeah. I saw on TikTok.
All good business ideas come from TikTok.
Remember when we went to McDonald's? That was because of TikTok. There's some good business ideas on TikTok, but it was a side hustle. Basically, yeah, do you want me to run through it? Yeah, sure. It was this guy who like found a software company online, Googled them, saw if they're getting if they're advertising or not on Google, like one of those first 3 hits. If they're not, you sign up for their affiliate program. You take that affiliate link and make an ad out of it. And then you're, the top 3 results when actually you'd be the top 1.
So
I'm just curious
let's do the back of the envelope math.
Yeah.
On this. Okay.
Okay.
So there's one, usually businesses, if they're a bigger business, I'm guessing listed up top. If they have an affiliate link,
right,
they're probably a legit business.
Let's use one example I found.
Okay.
I don't want to say what it is. Someone might steal it if this is out in 3 weeks.
This is a bad idea. Just say it.
No, I'm not going to say it.
Well, we'll prove it's a bad idea.
Yeah. It's an architecture software and it's expensive. It's like $1,000 for a license. Okay. And their affiliate program is either 10% or 25% off that sale and all the upgrades and anything a user does for a lifetime. Okay. That's it. It'd be $100 at any time one of those sells.
So someone buys it, you get $100.
Yeah.
Okay. Is it a legit company?
Yeah, it's industry standard.
So why, I assume they have some marketing team. Why would they not put out ads?
I don't know. I'm curious if they shut people down for trying.
Well, here's what.
They're not like a super sexy company. They might not.
Look at it this way. They have, someone buys it and that's $1,000 purchase. So like lifetime value of a customer, it's at least $1,000, probably $2,000, whatever, $1,500, whatever it is. So basically you're doing the math of, all right, what's the cost to acquire a customer?
Right.
And if it's, I forget if it's like 3 or 5 times, you want like cost to acquire, is it 3 or 5 times to get to your lifetime value? So for example, sorry, I'm using weird stuff, but like if it costs $500 to
get someone to buy.
Yeah, get someone to buy
through the advertisement.
Then it's worth it because like 500 times 3 is 1,500. And then it's like, that's roughly what you should be
for the
spending.
company, yeah. For me though.
But yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like they have every incentive because they make 100% of the sale.
Right.
Whereas you're making 10%.
Correct.
Or 20, whatever it is. So if they're not doing it, it's fishy.
I agree it's fishy.
And you're basically saying, if you have a marketing team and they don't think it's worth doing, but you think it's worth doing at 10%,
they just might not have to. Again, because they're industry standard. Like people don't think twice about this software when they need it.
But basically I'm saying if their multiplier, I wish I had the actual number that people use, say it's 5x. So say like they're willing to spend up to $300 to acquire a customer.
Why?
Oh, no, wait. I feel like my math is wrong.
But you're saying,
well, whatever their number is, whatever their number is,
they're not spending $20 on ads to do it.
Yeah. Like they should, in theory, be spending hundreds of dollars on ads, which is just for like one customer, whatever. But like you're saying that somehow, like if they could spend 500 on a customer, you can only spend 50. So like if they did the math, any reasonable person would do the math and be like, hey, it's easy for us to acquire a customer. They're worth so much money. Let's do it. But they're not doing it. So why do you think when you get 10% of what they do?
I don't. But if I came to you 6 years ago and said, hey, I saw this video on drop shipping, right, from Amazon to eBay, which is probably the first side hustle thing I did a long time ago, we would have said a similar thing. But then I just did it and here we are. And I've made, tens of thousands, $100,000 over 6 years.
A lot of time though.
A lot of time.
It's just,
I think if that, let's say this works, I'll try it. What's the harm in trying, right? It's low cost. If that works and that can be this thing that gets me off the input-output treadmill because it's just an ad that lives online, then I can stop doing the Craigslist stuff, which does take a lot of time.
Or what might be better is if you I wonder if you messaged them. I mean, this, you don't need any approval. You can just do it. But like in theory, you're their marketer. You're basically their marketer and you're doing it at absurdly low rates. So what if you just told them 50-50 split or something and you'll do marketing, but then there's a lot of approval and shit. And they're like, what kind of ads?
Let me just run some micro tests. We'll come back to it.
Yeah. I'm just saying the math it's very, very unlikely that it's worthwhile if they're not doing it.
Right.
And you're just getting the scraps that they want to get.
But also it's one of those Naval zero distribution things. Like once it's up, there's no cost to me for it to keep churning. So if I could sell 2 licenses a week or 3 licenses a week or 3 a month, so long as the ads are.
But you're probably going to spend a lot on ads.
Yeah, that's what I got to figure out.
The math is fishy. Regardless, it's interesting. Like you see,
can we get some more nonsense?
No.
It's over.
That's the thing. We thought there was going to be nonsense, and then for some reason there just wasn't. Maybe we're just boring people now.
No,
I think
no. This isn't boring. This is smart.
Let's talk.
This is smart.
Do you want to talk about Binky at all? That's kind of
bath meditations.
Okay, let's wrap up on bath meditations.
Wait, I don't know if the episode's out. You keep telling me you told someone about this bath thing. I don't know if that episode's out yet. Who's it with, Steph?
Oh, it is out. Andrew Yu, episode 69.
Okay, that's the next one in my library. Okay.
Yeah. I wasn't even meditating. I was just like, I wanted to take a bath. But Belky took it to the extreme. I don't know.
Did you turn the lights off? Okay, my new thing in our place, and I don't know how long it's going to last with the third person coming, because I know you guys are just going to be like, I'm just going to hear like Call of Duty sounds when I'm trying to meditate in the bathroom.
No.
But our bathroom gets so absurdly dark. I guess there's no windows in there and the doors fit pretty nice.
And our lights don't actually function.
Right. The apartment's just dark. So my new thing, because you've been talking about this meditation kick. Do you still do that every once in a while?
I'm like 1 out of every 2
I'm
days.
back, baby. So you've been talking about this meditation kick where you just sit for an hour and don't do anything, no phone, which is great. But I was like, I got to beat Pop. I got to beat him. So I'm going to turn off the lights. No, it wasn't about beating you. I wanted to try sensory deprivation at some point. I was like, well, we're slumming it in this apartment, but we actually have a sensory deprivation chamber.
Michael doesn't know, but he's been sleeping on it.
So I fill up the tub. I put in bath salts, which I've never done before, get super high probably. And then I just sit in the pitch black for 30 minutes, 45 minutes. And it is a trip. Let me tell you, I do know, this brought me back to life, baby. I do know when the day comes that I do own a house, or if I'm renting, I'm going to make sure that bathroom blacks out. No doubt about it.
Really?
It's been great. So I'm trying to like 2 or 3 days a week. Let me see if I could pull up some notes.
I mean, let
me pull up the crazy one.
Oh, from your meditations?
Yeah. Oh, I take notes after. Here's the thing. I'm just at peace in there. One time, so the one time that went bad, the water was too hot. It was scalding. So I'm sitting there and I'm starting to sweat bullets. It's probably like 110 degrees. It's like a hot tub.
Right, because it's like a sauna too in the room.
And I'm like, I locked the door. And...
Were you locking me out? What? I'm the only one that can possibly get in there. What, you don't trust me?
So I'm freaking out. I'm like, if I pass out, it's over. It's over. Pop, he's going to think the door's locked and he's not going to break it down. That's too much. That's too
I could break it down though.
Okay, here we go. Water was scalding hot. Thought I was losing consciousness. This is going to make nobody want to do this. Thought I was losing consciousness. Ran cold water on feet and started to slowly feel it move up my body. The sound of... this was crazy. The sound of water filling up started these hallucinations where I was seeing photons vibrating and scattering off the water. The vibrating intensified. It went on. I thought I was having a seizure. And then I still thought I was going to die in the bathtub. And then it got kind of cool because I had a seizure when I was like 2 years old. We don't know why. And I was like, maybe if I'm having one right now, I can tap into that memory because Tim Ferriss is always like the psilocybin like gives you memories. What I'm saying is everybody should take sensory deprivation baths. If the water's not too hot, it's great.
We're just doing the ghetto sensory deprivation tank and you're going to have a seizure and lock me out and I'm not going to know because I forget you're in there and I just go to the bathroom and I'm like, oh,
and then the drain's like...
Until I fixed it.
Yeah.
I took my little food wrap because we don't have Tupperware. It's all food wrap.
It's a food wrap?
You didn't know? What do you think it was?
Like I don't know, bar of soap, which makes no sense because there's no bar of soaps in there. So it can't be a bar of soap wrap.
Yeah, see, I had done it too, but I had it too hot. And then I'm like, this is uncomfortable. I'm sweating in a tub. That doesn't make any sense.
You have to, what I want to do is put the little mark on the wall so we always know what's best. You want it to be body temperature, like 97. So, or room temperature. And it's really nice.
How much of that is placebo though? Are you seeing these little photon, electron shit going around?
For sure. Because your brain starts playing tricks on you. I couldn't discern if I could see in the room or it was pitch black.
Oh, because it is actually pitch black. I think that's a big factor.
Pitch black. And so you just start hallucinating all these patterns and colors because your brain starts making shit up. It's like the blackest room I've ever been in before. Black, dark.
Michael's been sleeping on this pitch black room.
It's nice. It's nice. We got to clean the tub. The salt water's the salt water's making a perimeter around the tub. So, that's Beth meditation.
My meditation.
You got scared?
Well, it's kind of cool because Naval was like, hey, do 60 days of 60-minute meditations. I haven't done it yet, but like I've done maybe 5 of them. And man, you start tweaking.
Mm-hmm.
Like you realize how addicted you are to phones and just input. And it's like I'm freaking out. And it's not like a meditation of like, just focus on your breath. I'm just like, I let my mind run wherever.
Yeah.
And it can do that. And it makes it easier because I feel like I couldn't do even a 10-minute meditation because I felt like I sucked at it.
Well, yeah, like even last night, like I put my phone up for half an hour and I just had this whole like financial discussion with myself about things like the Tesla I want to get, which I like realize in the bath that I just can't afford to do right now. And like kind of this stuff, input, output stuff. It's good to just sit with the idea that you're going to think for 30 minutes or not. Like half the time I spend in the bath, like, ooh, that water feels good. Nice and warm.
But the other half is productive. It's cool. I'm going to do it right after this podcast. See what sort of insights I have.
So I got to be quiet. I need to put these shelves up. I'm going to be banging on the walls. Yeah, you can go in the music box.
Yeah, I'll go in the music box, put these on. Yeah. I got to get a mat in there so I can sleep.
Yeah.
But
what else we got? Kevin O'Leary. That was a good video.
How long is this thing? 34 minutes. Look at that.
Great.
Should we talk about Kevin? I don't know if there's much other than I really liked his of like he's working at the ice cream place and people when they eat ice cream, they throw their gum on the floor and he was working there and the lady is like, hey, you got to clean the floor from all that gum. He's like, I'm a scooper, not a scraper. That's not what I do. And she's like, well, you can go home and never come back. And he never came back, never went back to any business.
Never worked for anybody again in his life. He said, that's it.
So
I don't want to be the scraper scooper. You've done your time doing that. I've done it. I was in the same position. I'm like, I don't want to be bossed around like this.
I'm just like, you know how we talk about like mental models, and it's like opportunity cost of one, of like you see constantly. I just see that so much in terms of people doing shit. And I'm like, how do you spend 40 years doing this? Like, I can't even put up 4 days.
A lot of it's circumstance, right? Like if you have kids young, you don't really have a choice. And then if you're more well off, it's like golden handcuffs, right? Like you start leveling up at Bain or Goldman Sachs.
Let's full loop it. Let me cut you off because fuck your point. I'm saying
it's the same point.
With people that buy homes, you are locking yourself into a 30-year commitment in most cases. That is fucking absurd to me because now every single month you have to meet that minimum charge, and it could be much more, like we said with the mortgage. So now say your mortgage is $2,000 a month. You have to hit that every single month. There's not a fucking chance that you're going to do anything entrepreneurial.
Right.
Because look at you.
Or you have kids. You're not going to do anything entrepreneurial. You can't afford to. Like my brother, for instance, right? I would love, he's so smart. I want him to come work on this company with me. He's way smarter than I am, especially about this stuff. He can't because I can't give him benefits. I can't match his 401k and I can't give him health benefits. He's got 4 people, 3 dependents and a mortgage. Like, you get locked in. That's why I want to just try now and then hopefully get on the fast track.
Yeah, I think this is our niche, is like right when you hit like 20 to 26, who knows if they'll change the healthcare system, but basically you don't have to worry about health insurance. You don't have any kids most likely. Other than student loans, there's nothing really committing you to anywhere, anyone. Just fucking rip it up with your wildest dreams. And then like, what did my dad yesterday? He's like, hey, do you need money? And like, luckily I don't.
Which is
that's never a thing.
Right? You don't need it, but also if you did, he was there.
Right. And granted, a lot of people don't have good families like that, but a lot of people do. And it's like, if you have the right set of cards.
Especially a lot of the people we talk to who are complaining do.
Right.
And so it's like
Beery yesterday, I asked him, I'm like, people graduate from RISD, and RISD, I don't think it's very hard to get like student loans or like any sort of aid. So you're paying 60, 70 grand a year for 4 years. It's
not hard to get student loans.
Or
it's hard to get
student, what's the like scholarship?
Yeah, scholarship.
Yeah. Even then, like the interest rates are really high there. But so you come out and it's like $250K and you have that debt. But I asked him like, so what do people do? Like, do they stress about this? And he's like, well, if you're going to art school that costs $250,000, you probably aren't worried about money. Like you're pretty set.
That's cool.
So like a lot of the people in our circumstances, at least like good schools, like upper echelon, they probably don't have to worry about this stuff. It's only silly outside pressures.
Yeah.
But those pressures are just, everyone in the world just thinks the wrong fucking way.
Right.
It's crazy. There's only like this small subset of people that see the light. And I feel
what is it? Like 5%, 10% maybe?
I mean, you see, it's like all of our Twitter. So it's kind of like we're skewing but like you see the real world and like I see no one doing it other than like the most successful people.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like, it's reinforcing this mission because
it's just a bummer. There's a lot of talent. There's a lot of talent and we don't get a lot of innovation because of these pressures.
That's why, let's keep riffing on this shit. So that's why we were talking. Okay. So the other day when I was like basically talking to my old employer and like setting up a system for him. Okay. Don't want to confirm any details.
Let's talk about pressure, right? Is that where you're going? In terms of necessity? Like we're running out of money. I'm burning fucking my reserves.
Right.
And that forces you, I don't know, maybe this isn't where you were going.
No, it's connected. It's like, all right, we had all this savings and we're like, all right, it's, at least in my case, it was like, this shit's going to last like 4 or 5 months. Let's just grind it out, like quit our jobs, go on this sabbatical or my job, and then see what the fuck we make out of it. But we know this shit's valuable. Like people want what we're doing if we do it right.
Right.
And now we become experts 75 episodes in at this very specific niche, but is growing because podcasts are the shit right now. Everyone sees the value in it. Now we're some of the best podcasters objectively with our team. Very few people in the world have a video podcast of this caliber.
At this price, at this age.
Right. And so now coming back to someone who's a content marketer, has a content company, I'm like, hey, I am solving any sort of content issue you'll ever have.
Right. And this gets back to that point of like, you got to go down to get up. You have to give up everything to go up. Naval says it all the time. And it's like, when the going got tough for you, I know it's not tough by a lot of people's measure, but you had to figure out something. You had to figure out a product to sell. And I tell people this all the time. Like, for me, the world is a game. Like, there's money everywhere. There's treasure troves everywhere. This was a treasure trove. Maybe the podcast isn't it. We have a whole lot of fun doing this. We'll do it as long as we can. But yeah, maybe this isn't monetizable right now. But what is every single thing you learned in the last 6 months doing this. And you just go to sell it to somebody else.
So that's why this works so well. And it's partly like a catch-22 if too many people do it. But so few people are able to just quit and go full-time on this crazy passion. And it's just like, it's one of those unique value propositions because no one else in the world can really do this.
You listen to anybody on how I built this. Let's talk about Casey Neistat because this workshop, right? Like he got his Manhattan studio, and his mission became, I need to land one client this month to pay for the studio. Or other people like maxing out their credit cards. And it's that kind of necessity. Like with this place, I'm like, I have the money, but my burn rate's not forever. I'm like, I need to fund this. So we can't just sit on our butts and play video games. Like it won't work.
Right. I love that like gun to your head.
It's
sort of mentality.
Total, yeah. And it's fun.
And now this is, maybe it doesn't work in your favor like you talk about negotiation and stuff like that. It's like now when you say a number, you're like serious about this number and you want to get like a high number to make it all work. Like it's life or death. You're going to actually prepare for it. Like before, for example, when I was working for this person, I didn't really, I just like was having fun. I didn't really think about money very much. But now it's like, all right, I'm spending $1,500 a month on this podcast, which is absurd. But I see it as an investment in one, I'm learning the skills, which are invaluable because clearly the market wants these skills. Two, we're building a portfolio. Three, we're having fucking fun. We're saying like, we want to do more podcasts. This shit is dope.
We're here today because I was bummed out we hadn't recorded one in a week or two.
And we realized we forgot how to add nonsense.
Yeah.
But maybe there's some smarts here. But
there's
still,
a lot of smarts here.
It's like people will look at it and they're like, Dylan, how can you spend $350 a week on this shit when you're not making money?
It was an investment. And let me say too, because you said like, you're kind of not so serious about the job, just hanging out. You spent like a week figuring out this pitch. It was the most exciting thing to happen to us last week. It's like, how can I distill this down into a product? And again, we'll do that update when the time comes. But this is also, I told you a couple weeks ago, I was like, Dylan, we just got to start this little agency and we got to close a couple clients. And that's your money problems. Money. If we can close a couple clients, right, we can stop worrying about food, rent. That's pretty much it. Those are my only worries right now.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting because
health insurance.
I also like built up a lot of capital, like social capital, whatever you want to call it, like brownie points basically with this person because I was undervalued for years. And I just like, I clearly cared about the company.
Oh yeah.
But like at the same time, I went to him and I'm like, hey dude, I've already spent thousands of dollars, thousands more of my own time. He was looking at the set and he's like, all right, whether or not I get on board, this dude is going to fucking crush it with whatever system. Like maybe some other content creator gets this system or some company in Silicon Valley that wants to market better. Someone's going to get it. And I want him because he clearly cares like no one I've ever seen before.
Oh, you want your employer? You want your employer? You said him. I said or her. I was trying to be equitable.
I'm being specific about me.
I know.
But yeah. I think it is like, I don't want to like preach it too much. One, because we haven't given details, but like it's also, we're not diversified yet, but that's what you said is like you get maybe 3, 4, and then you're set and you don't have to worry about one of them leaving.
Right. And then that's how you break up from this input output. And I tell people, like, we're trying to get our friend to move out here, right? And I'm like, again, easy for us to say, but like there are so many ways to make money in this world. But they're hard to find if you don't spend time off, right? Like if you're working a job, take our other friend who probably works 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. You're not going to come home from work and like start your side hustle or try and find that little treasure trove. You're going to play video games and drink because like, yeah, it's stressful and you have to take yourself out of that. But when we just do this all day long, it's like, all right, how do we monetize this lifestyle? Like where are we going next? and it's everywhere. I stumbled into the wedding business. I made, maybe 25 grand this year so far on that. And I'm trying to level that up and get myself off the input treadmill. It's out there.
I'm realizing like all our friends, literally everyone that's worried about you, I understand it. But today, like in 2020, there is no reason that you cannot monetize anything that's going to be valuable.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can literally do it, just crush whatever the fuck you're going to do. And someone, if you pitch it right, there are some aspects here, but it is valuable to someone. You can solve someone's problem.
Yeah. I made a website for my mom's friend the other week. Just like random stuff. When people know you do that random stuff, the random stuff just keeps coming. It's
but like my problem,
your own luck.
I feel like you have to do shit that you're actually like, I'm very passionate about podcasting and just talking to people.
Right. I'm just trying to pay some bills.
Yeah. So you're coming at a different angle. But like, I don't know what you're into. You get this fucking music box. You're not making music. Like, I feel like there's some...
Because I spend all day on Craigslist. I would love
but you're the person that just had like the 6 to 8 p.m., 6 in the morning to 8 p.m., and they have no time for like exploration.
The other problem is we've been getting here at like noon, and I used to get here at like 9.
Don't blame that on me. Do not.
We're here for like 3 hours now.
I know.
No, it's this place isn't fully functional yet. We got another person coming. I need to finish up some infrastructure before we're just hanging out.
Yeah.
What else you got?
No, that's it. I mean, it's just a joke.
One.
Society is a joke.
That's a
Don't
big
fucking
one.
believe them.
Don't believe them.
Because you can crush it. If few people, here's my qualifier, is few people are as driven as we are.
Sure.
Like we said, I put a week into that pitch.
But here's the thing. A lot of people aren't as driven as we are because they don't have to be. Like our friend. Our friend, he won't come here because he doesn't have to. He's comfortable. He's having fun all day. He's living with his parents. Like, he doesn't have to. But when you put yourself in these necessity situations, then like, it's either you drive or you're not eating dinner. So what are you going to choose? What are you writing down?
I'll just go off the top of my head. So Kevin O'Leary, we put Kevin O'Leary down with the scraping versus scooping shit. But the reason I clicked on that video.
What's the reason?
Oh, fuck. I don't want to. I'm going to butcher the quote, but it's basically like a salary is someone paying you to quit your dreams.
Yes.
Something like that. I butchered it. It's not quite the same, but it's literally, they are paying you to distract you from your dreams. It's like just good enough so that you won't pursue your podcast or your music or whatever the fuck you want to do.
Look, if you're not running and you don't have that drive and you're not building towards your own dreams, then you're working on somebody else's. Right? Like everyone working at Apple, that was Steve Jobs' dream.
Right now, for example, I am basically like working for my old employer, but the way I rationalize it is it's paying, like you want to build assets, right? This podcast is an asset because it's just us. It's us and we can show the world it. So basically building assets for my employer is funding my own assets, our own assets. That's the way I look at it. And you got to think about like what assets can you build? And ideally you can take whatever your like salary money is and put it towards funding until the asset itself can be your primary income stream, which for the podcast will probably take a year, 2 years, whatever it is. That's not a concern because now we're in a good position.
Right.
All right. That's it. That was a lot longer than I thought.
Episode
50
75.
minutes. That shit was 50
Episode
minutes.
75.
All right.
It's like 1 p.m. Oh, it's 1:15.
That's how we get the day started. I got my meditation. We got editing to do, but we'll see you. Who knows? Not tomorrow. I don't know.
I thought we were going to record
Let's do a book.
tomorrow.
Kay's been asking for books.
Okay, well,
Kay,
do a
I know
book.
you're going to hear this.
The Magic of Thinking Big.
The Magic. Oh, yes.
Yeah,
I like
The
that
Magic
book a
of Thinking
lot.
Big.
All right. See you next
Later.
time.